Nailed it.
Got it. Basically perfect. As always.
I was recording this time.
Nice.
Sick.
Wow.
Not as sick as that our most recent episode, though. That was hot.
Hell. Hello and welcome to the YASEcast. We are back at you again. This is episode 28. My God, what an episode last week. What an episode we got lined up for you this week. With me today, sorry, I'm Lamo. Hi, I don't know if I introduced myself. I don't think I did. With me this week, I have Morgan.
Once again.
And I also got Snooze with me.
Hello, I'll return for like the third time in a row or something.
Yeah.
The hat trick.
There we go. So, oh my gosh. Usually I go around the room and I ask what everyone's been up to first, but I'm going to flip that in my head because I have something I need to talk about.
Go off, King.
I finally fucking got around to playing Hades and just like, oh my God, that game rules. The game's so fucking good.
Oh,
like,
it's
holy
incredible.
shit.
It is incredibly good.
It's so good. It's stupidly good. Like I'm so happy that I finally got into it. So to put this into perspective, I had the game actually bought and installed for like a couple weeks. But I finally launched it on Sunday, totally on a whim. Just like, oh, you know what? Like, hey, I have nothing else going on. Let me finally give this a shot. Since then, I've put in 9 hours into it by looking at my Epic Game Store stats. I've played 9 hours of it since Sunday. It is Tuesday night.
Sounds like the experience.
It's so good. The last run that I did this afternoon, I actually finally got to Hades himself. Didn't do so well there, but the fact that I got there, I was really happy. Holy shit, the game is so good. A lot of the Supergiant games like haven't super clicked for me. Like Bastion was an entirely whatever experience to me. Transistor was fine, but didn't really. Vince is unhappy with that opinion.
I'm sorry. I was agreeing with both of your opinions.
Oh, okay.
I was thumbs downing at the incredibly positive review rate of those games.
Right?
I like Bastion.
Bastion's fine. It's a fine
it's
game.
I like it a lot, actually.
I just didn't think it was like... I felt like there were a lot of like very, very high scores for it. I think it's a fine game. I don't think it's like
it.
10 out of 10 material.
It made me feel things.
There's nothing wrong. I'm saying there's nothing wrong with it. It just didn't like... Okay, whatever. But yeah, Bastion and Transistor just didn't like super click with me. I thought they were, like I said, fine, but whatever. Hades though, it's just like right off the bat, the art is amazing, music is amazing, all the gameplay feels super crisp, all the weapons are varied enough to where it feels interesting every time I go through something new. I love it. I love all the characters. Zacharias is best boy.
Who's your favorite boy at the moment, or just person or dog?
Oh man, that's a really hard question to answer.
It is actually it's an unfair question. I couldn't answer it.
Hold on. I need to look up a list of gods in Hades.
Oh, you're going for gods, not even actually just like a character.
Oh. Well, I guess I could. I guess I'll just do characters in Hades. I'm trying to think. Like, I also don't want to inadvertently spoil anything for myself right now.
Okay, I'm having a hard time because I got the standard ending, and I'm on my way to like the true ending right now.
Yeah,
I told myself
I heard you have to like beat it like a certain amount of times or something, right?
If you beat the game, can I tell you?
No.
Just like I can't even tell you like how you get the standard ending.
Oh, I thought it was just you just beat Hades, I assumed. If I'm wrong, don't tell me.
You are partially correct.
Okay, cool.
It's hard because like I want to talk about this game. I want to gush about this game, but I do not want to deprive you of the experience of finding things yourself.
Yes, I know Jarvis actually also brought this up. He wants to do a Hades spoiler cast at some point. So I think that is in the near future.
I definitely want to do it. I have strong opinions about characters.
Oh,
Maybe
my
we'll
God.
get Jay on it, and we can go over the God tier list.
I don't know who my favorite character is right now. I kind of like, I like Achilles. I've only interacted with Thanatos once. And so I would like to get to know Thanatos more.
Oh, he's a good boy. I think one piece, though, that you did hit on that
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll talk about on the spoiler cast, but it's not a spoiler. One of the bits that makes the roguelike gameplay loop so good in Hades is that Zacharias is such a good boy.
Yeah, he's great.
Like, I lose, and I don't even have a chance to be frustrated because he just like crawls back out of that pit of goop, and he's like making finger guns
It's
at
like,
people.
it would have been so fucking easy to make him an edgy anti-hero. But
No.
he's not. There's something very genuine in Zagreus.
And it's
And
wonderful.
I
It
like
makes the
that.
whole game.
Yeah. Yeah. It really does. The way that he treats other characters, the way that other characters kind of talk to him, the way he responds, the dialogue when you give someone gifts. And I think the thing that's really one of my favorite things is kind of the difference between when he gives a god a gift and between when he gives like someone, I don't want to say a lesser being, but when you're comparing people to gods, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know what other word to use to give them a gift. It's like, hey, like I really appreciate, the work you've been doing and how you've been helping me out. And, I thought of you and wanted to have this and wanted you to have this. Like a lot of the dialogue between Zagreus and Meg is really good.
Yeah. Meg is a very good character. I hope you get to... Have you met all of her sisters?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe I've met all of her sisters at this point. And the dialogue when you're about to go into that fight is like, and you're just like, all right, which sister am I going to get this time?
Oh, yeah, we walked in, he's like, please be Meg, please be Meg.
Yes.
Hi, Aleko.
The fourth wall breaking between Zagreus and the narrator is really good.
Mm-hmm. Like,
especially
we're
how
save it for the spoiler cast because
Yeah.
like, also
Yeah.
like go unlock at least the standard ending so we can have the spoiler cast.
Gotcha. You know where I was going with that one, but yeah. Hades is really good. I'm pretty sure it's on like damn near everything. It's honestly on my short list for game of the year.
It's absolutely my game of the year. Like there's nothing I could play this year that could dislodge it.
I would have to look back and look at everything that came out this year and what I actually played from this year. But like right now it's like it's there. It's number one with a fucking bullet.
I think it's only going to keep getting... It's going to keep climbing for you, because one thing this game does incredibly well is shaking things up and scaffolding new mechanics. Because I thought, like, oh, I've got 6 weapons and, different boons and everything. Like, this will keep me interested for a while. But then I kept getting new mechanics and new options and new expansions and to existing skills. And before I knew it, I had, air quotes, finished the game, and then immediately afterwards unlocked a new mechanic that I didn't know existed the entire time, which completely changed my experience going forward. And it just does such a good job of it. It's really an incredible experience.
It's good.
It's
one of the rare times where like a game gets like praise like heaped on it, and I'm kind of like, okay, whatever, let me give it a shot. I'm like, oh no, fuck, like it was 100% deserved. Like it lives up to the hype, which is usually really hard for me. Usually I'll see like something get a lot of praise, and I'm like, I get a lot less excited for it. My enthusiasm goes down, but with Hades, it's surprisingly gone up since I started playing it.
I feel the same way. My girlfriend was in a D&D game while I was over at her place, and I was like, my friends have really been about this game, and I have a couple hours to kill, so I downloaded it before her game, and I sank like 4 hours into it over the course of the weekend. I just like didn't want to put it down. The gameplay loop was so satisfying.
Okay, that's I need to stop my check in there. I've been playing Hades. That's what the hell I've been up to. Morg, what have you been up to this past week?
Oh wow, you're gonna ask me a question now? Oh, I've also been playing Hades. I'm just at a very
hell
different
yeah.
pace of it than you have. Beyond that, still playing Plus R, the rollback beta. So we're recording this on the 10th. So
yes.
Rollback beta is ending on I think Sunday. So I'm gonna maybe try and enter a beginner tournament and see how well I do.
It's crazy how big those have been.
They're like 400 plus people.
Yeah,
for
like,
a game that came out almost 20 years ago.
and I'm sure there's like a fair amount of DQs, but let's say even half of those people don't bother showing up to their matches.
That's still 200
It's
person
still
tournament.
200 people. It's insane.
It is absolutely ridiculous. So, I mean, we'll see. Maybe I'll give that a shot. Beyond that, still working on like NaNoReno is on my. It's really like a big focus for me, and kind of a refreshing way. Especially like it's under COVID, I feel like I've gotten kind of into this very sad spirally routine of like close the work laptop, then walk over to my desktop and maybe start streaming or something, or. Yeah, but like being able to, pop open. I bought a Chromebook for it even. And, like pop up my Chromebook with the SSD and just log in and then like start writing or like editing. It's given me a different perspective on stuff, and it's been a lot of fun. I put up the first chapter, but like last week, and I got some like actually really good feedback. In fact, a friend of the show, King Hippo, did reach out to me, and I was like, "This is, talked about Hippo's on the pod like experience with fan fiction and." Writing projects and like getting good feedback from somebody like that, it feels really good and really affirming. It's like, wow, my ideas don't suck.
That rules. I mean, the whole aspect of actually going out there and even just starting to write. I mean, anything during NaNoRemo. I mean, I am incredibly impressed and proud of you for that, and especially for getting a full chapter out there and reaching out for feedback and shit. Very proud of you.
My goal is to get a chapter done a week. And I'm not going to finish a novel. But like if I knock out like drafts of the first 4 chapters, or like what I would consider in like my broad overarching idea, like the first chunk or the first act, that's a good approach. And I feel like I can look back on like in 1 month I wrote like 30 or 40 pages of a novel. That's sick. Isn't that right, Hazel? My dog is coughing behind me.
Oh, poor Noodle. Vince, what have you been up to this past week? Oh, shit, wait, hold on. Hold it, Vince. We got the Noodle cam incoming. Oh, hell yeah. Oh.
Does your dog
Hi, Hazel.
I moved the camera. My dog got up. She was sleeping behind me. She got up and left the room.
Damn.
Does she have like a wrist brace?
Yeah, she was... when I took her in to get her teeth pulled, they gave her an IV. So they shaved that spot and she was licking it and started getting irritated. So I had to put I trimmed a sock and then just scotch taped it over the spot.
That'll do.
Yeah, anything to keep her from licking it because she won't stop.
Oh, poor Hazel.
I love my dog. If listener, if you cannot tell, I love my dog.
Love that Noodle.
Love the Noodle.
All right, Vince. Now, for real this time, what have you been up to this past week?
I've been synchronizing with Morgan by sleep rewatching Deep Space Nine.
Hell yeah.
We talked about a little bit earlier.
Yep, hell
That
yeah.
show has some good episodes. I don't really know what to say about that, but I've been doing it. It's a good show. You should watch it if you haven't. And the other thing I did this week was, have y'all ever played Vermintide?
I have.
I have heard of Vermintide. That's
It's
the best
like-
I can do.
It's like one of those games that I think it's incredibly jank and kind of bad, but like really
oh, it
fun.
is. Yeah, absolutely. That's how I would describe it.
So I have some friends who I've been playing it with, and they did there was a Halloween event, and everybody who played it killed enough rats that now they're doing triple XP, which is great because there's 5 classes in that game. There's 5 characters, I guess, and you have to level them all up separately. And it's not the worst leveling up grind, but it's long enough that it's kind of hard to jump. I don't know. You got this character. I'm like, I don't want to. I want to play as other guys. This one's fine. Because the way that game is designed, they don't really come alive until you kind of get the capstone skill, and then it's like, oh, this character's cool now. I can do stuff. So I've just been grinding out the old triple XP weekend so I can have actual fun with the video game. It came at a good time because I played it on and off, but lately we've really been playing it a lot. So.
Oh, cool. Love to play the video game so I can enjoy the video game.
Love the day.
I do like to actually get to enjoy the video game.
Yeah, I liked. I played a little bit of Vermintide. I'm a kind of a big fan of the setting for Warhammer Fantasy Battle or whatever they call it now. I think it's been rebooted a couple times.
Yeah,
since I stopped playing it. Yeah, so I love the premise of Vermintide, and it they really nailed that aesthetic of hey, you're in the Empire and shit sucks.
Yeah, they do a really good job with the lore. Just with character interactions, there's a million voice lines in that game. So you've got, is it 6 characters? Maybe it's 6 characters.
I think
but
it's
you
6.
play
You have a witch hunter. There's the pyromancer, the witch hunter, the dwarf.
Yeah, there's an elf.
Yeah, there's an elf in there.
I feel like there's another.
I'm looking
guy.
it up.
But whatever, you have 5 or 6 characters, but you only pick 4 at a time in a game, and you run around, do your little mission or whatever. And there's a lot of voice acting in the game where they talk to each other. So it's not just it's semi-canned, there are parts where they talk, but you get kind of random voice lines, and the ones that happen depend on the characters that are present. And there's also just stuff that can happen if you tag certain special enemies. If you tag one, your person says hey, there's a special enemy that we need to kill, and then they have interactions based on those sometimes. It's I don't know, it's really good. It makes it feel a lot fresher than I think it would normally, because the whole game is definitely, it's pretty on rails. It's very linear. You just sort of run through the level and hit the rats and get the thing. But if you're into the Warhammer lore, it does a good job of expressing that, which makes it a lot more enjoyable.
I remember it as being kind of like Left 4 Dead, but with Warhammer.
That's what I remember the comparison
Left 4
being.
Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to Left 4 Dead of hey, there's a bunch of rats instead of zombies. Except that Skaven are way the fuck cooler than zombies, in my humble opinion. So
I really like about that game the level design. As it's a little funny to me, as jank as I think a lot of that game is, the level design is actually really, really good. You jump in and it looks like you're in this just huge open world and you could just go anywhere. There's a million miles of fields and a mountain to climb or whatever. But you never really feel lost. They do a really good job of guiding you through. It's despite the really complicated maps with a million rats running everywhere, and there's just burning buildings and stairs to nowhere. It's always very obvious where you should go, which I think it seems really hard to do that. I'm pretty impressed.
Hell yeah.
So I have to ask, because I know Vermintide came out a little while ago. What kind of prompted you to either A, get back into it, or B, kind of give it a shot?
I used to play Warhammer back in the day when I was in high school. So I've just had a passive interest in the lore, and I guess mainly the lore because I haven't played the game for a long time. And I just met some friends. Well, I have some old friends, rather, that started playing it, and they were just hassling me to play with them because we used to all play Payday together. And like I said, that's because it's a little bit hard for me to get into because they'd been playing it for a while, so they were already high level. And we could do it, but it just takes so long to get up there that I just was kind of grinding the one character, but. So yeah, I mean, it was just a thing where friends were like, "Hey, you should play this video game with us," and I was like, "Okay, it's $10. I can do that."
Oh shit, yeah, for $10, fuck it, why not?
Yeah,
that'll definitely do it. All right, so good checking.
Yeah,
Good
solid run. I am
gotta talk about Hades.
Preemptively checking in that I noticed that Yakuza Like a Dragon came out today, so that might be my check-in next week if I decided I want to grab that.
Yeah. So I know one of the things we kind of talked about as far as the topic for this, kind of have a not strictly the title or the idea is fighting game lore, but lore is under some heavy quotation marks here. So kind of want to talk about some kind of weird thing. Well, not essentially weird, but you'll hear. Morgan and Vince already know what I'm talking about. Dear listener, you'll stick with me on this one. Trust me, we're going good places. This kind of started out because I was seeing a bit of activity on Twitter recently, saying that the main characters of any given fighting game franchise are usually the most boring, in the entire series. And at first I was kind of like, yeah, I can see it. But then the more I thought about it, like I came to like a 50-50 split on it, because there are some main characters, and maybe not in every version of the game, but there are some main characters that are just absolutely buck wild. The first like all around like completely insane main character that came to mind for me was Soul Bad Guy from Guilty Gear, because you watch any good Soul play, it's fucking crazy. They're doing crazy shit. It's so much fun to watch. Now, if you would want to call Kai a main character, though, yeah, I would agree. Kai is fucking white bread.
Have you seen Plus R Kai? That boy has sauce. Plus
Yeah,
R Kai got sauce.
I don't really get what that's supposed to mean. I know what those words mean.
He's got nuance to mix up and layered pressure in the way that he approaches things, which makes me think that he's like a very engaging character to play. Sorry, I don't think that this model applies to Guilty Gear. I'm biased here, but I do not think that you can point to anyone in that roster and say that person is boring.
Well, no, I'm not saying the entire roster. It was focused around main characters.
Yeah, especially especially Soul.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think Soul definitely kind of bucks that trend, but I do think Kai is. I don't see it with Kai.
You also play Leo.
Maybe
You
not
play
in Plus
Leo.
R, to be fair, but like I'm looking at like Exard. Personally, what I'm thinking is that's a good to have the most experience with, right?
I mean, Xrd Kai is still pretty cool. He can do fuzzy JS. That's fun.
That's what.
But
are the people that are saying this on Twitter? Are these like mostly anime game players?
I think
I
it's
don't
mostly
know.
anime game players.
Because like, I don't really. I don't know how I want to say this, but what's boring about Kai? Do you mean like, oh, he's a boring character design? Because, to be honest, I think Guilty Gear designs are bad. They're very boring to me. Personal opinion, but as far as what they actually do in the game, how is Kai boring?
I've just always found his gameplay relatively less interesting compared to other players in the cast. It seems, at least, like I said in Exard, it was a lot of like, yeah, there's zoning, but then corner is knockdown, grinder, mix up into knockdown, grinder, mix up, and just, I don't know.
See, to me, that's just Exard. That whole
That's
game,
most characters.
like, 3/4 of the characters in that game are just put a fireball, like, I got a knockdown, now I put a fireball on my head, now hold this mix up. Oh, you got hit, I'm gonna do it again.
It's actually true. I think as far as like,
I mean, they do it differently, but that's the gameplay.
yeah, it's like everyone's like knockdown into projectile Oki. That's the nature of Xrd. I think the idea though of like characters or like main characters being boring, I feel it. I feel like there are certain series and there are points, especially when I was younger, because I'm old enough to say when I was younger at this point. I used to be like, I don't want to play the main character because there's something that's very like, when you see like a character being common, it sort of it devalues them. They don't feel like they don't have like an edge. But I think as I've gotten older, I don't feel that, and now I look at stuff like Kyo and King of Fighters. I'm like, that character rules.
Kyo does rule,
and like Soul rules. I think Ryu rules.
I'll say 50% of Ryu rules. There's a lot of Ryus out there. I'll say 50% of Ryus.
I like the ordinary guy. I like the ordinary
tight.
guy in every iteration of him. I think Ryu is always cool. Give me an
that was
iteration
the
of
first thing I thought was like Denjin Ryu exists, bro.
Yeah,
it's like, bro,
Denjin Ryu is like the cool, the sauced up Ryu to me.
He's danced up.
But like almost all Street Fighter 2 Ryus, I'm just like, man, this is just. I don't get me wrong. I respect a good Ryu player. I do. I wholeheartedly do. I think Ryu's boring as fuck to play in 2.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, and not like to you specifically necessarily, but this is like it's come up in the past. Time is a flat circle or whatever. But in what way do you think that he's boring? Because like, I'm thinking about, are you talking about like he's bad?
No.
Because ST Ryu is fucked up. He's got some shit. Fireball's really good. He's got. Oh, you pick old Ryu. You do unblockable. Jumping. Patsus.
I might be biased here because I play Honda and I fucking hate. And like, yeah,
fair point.
I think I'm biased here.
So that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I can see a Honda player not liking Ryu because, yeah, if you play in that matchup, you're just like, well, I'm going to block these fireballs until I decide to, like, kill myself by jumping, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe I'll get a far roundhouse on him, but...
Yeah.
I think the...
But, maybe people think he's boring because he's just a karate guy, and I totally get that. It's just a different thing. That's why I'm kind of like, in what way?
I don't know. I feel like...
he is just a dude in a karate gi, like...
But he's also a dude in a karate gi that, we have no canonical evidence knows how to read.
I just had like a spark, right? Because okay, if I'm saying Ryu is boring, on the opposite end of the spectrum, Makoto is one of my favorite characters in Street Fighter history, if not most fighting games. Both are pretty much just karate people. Makoto is more of just a karate person than Ryu, and that she doesn't throw fireballs. She just does karate. She karates the shit out of people. She also jumps off of walls at you and then does a stun combo. But that's another topic. And so now I'm like, okay, so what's the difference? I think part of it might be, and now I'm thinking, because this also I feel like ties into Kai as well. Ryu and Kai, for the most part, are very emotionless. Makoto is very animated. She yells. She gets hype. Soul, he has Dragon Install. That's essentially yelling through your actions in the game.
He does the super that loses you rounds. Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
by mistake when I master.
It's internal yelling.
I guess the like stoic kind of emotionless dude is a pretty common main character, so I could see that being a common thread.
Yeah, I wonder if that might be, at least for me, where my feelings come from on that, and why I find some characters boring, because they are very stoic.
I think that rules personally. Like there is something to be said about. I really like it when the mechanics of a character match up with the aesthetic of a character, and especially like Ryu and ST Ryu. There's just, and even like Street Fighter 4, 5, 3, all the Ryus really. That Shotokan playstyle has this element of just like Ryu just kind of sitting down and being like, I got this. They jump, I got a Dragon Punch. They're on the ground, I got a Fireball. And like the stoicism plays into that for me, of just like, oh, you were a fool, you killed yourself by jumping. And like that kind of stuff, like, I don't know, I like it a lot.
I can respect that.
That's like all of Ryu's win quotes. I like Ryu because of his win quotes a lot. I've talked about this, I'm sure, to you guys before. I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast, but I'm going to talk about it again. There's a time in Street Fighter, and maybe this will tie into our later segment, spoiler alert, but there was a game in Street Fighter 4 where Infiltration played Latif, and at the time Latif was tearing everybody up with Viper, and I think Infiltration 10-0'd him. It was bad, and I never saw Latif play a fighting game in public again. And he kept pushing low forward to low profile the burn kicks, right?
Oh, yeah.
And in one of the matches, I noticed that, again, nobody had seen that before. It was like new tech at the time. After one of the matches, I noticed Ryu's win quote is something like, your toys are powerful, but your moves are easily avoided. I was just like, this fucking guy teaching you how to play the game in every win quote.
That's so sick. I wish Ryu had a win quote that was just like, stop jumping.
Because they were character specific in that game. So they knew.
They were. He specifically commented on you.
That does
ordinary
fucking
guy.
rule.
Why don't we? That's a segue. Let's pivot to our later. Like, are we settled that Ryu is the coolest character?
No.
But
if you want to say, I was say if you want to say Denjin Ryu, you got a case.
Denjin Ryu is the hottest fire character in Third Strike.
No, it's Makoto. With
Why are you
Super
in Yase?
R2.
Get out.
Nah.
Who let you in this house?
I'm just queuing up a fucking Tominaga fucking clip compilation right now. Pure hate.
You know the Dexter's Lab thing where he has like the picture of Action Hank and he's like, "I'm sorry, I failed you."
Yeah, that's me with the Makoto with the pink gi. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Tominaga. I failed you.
I failed you. So this kind of led into the bigger topic that we want to talk about, which is the history behind some of our favorite moments in fighting games and kind of the natural storylines that occur through different players and just different regions and scenes, and just kind of how a lot of those stories can really get lost, but they're so much more interesting. Like, for example, even 137, I mean, pretty much everyone knows it. It's the great parry comeback, and it's undeniably super cool. But like, what gets lost in the run up to that? What gets lost kind of that we don't get to see on video? And that kind of made me think that there's so much more that happens. I don't want to say story-wise, but yeah, story-wise, that's not just what can kind of be recorded in a video. And that's what kind of got me here. And then, why are these significant to either us or the greater FGC? Like, why is it of interest to either of us? And I kind of wanted to start with an example that I had. This was, during the Street Fighter 4 era. I do not remember the exact year. But it was shortly after, like very shortly after Justin Wong had moved from New York to California, which was a big thing at the time because, okay, well, now there's this giant who's going to be the best in New York, right? Now that Justin's gone. Who is essentially going to start winning. Oh God, I don't even know if it was next level at the point or if it was still fucking like, no, it was definitely not EMP tournaments. What was it? What were the fucking, oh my God, what were they called?
Chinatown Fair?
No, EMP had like their own like tournament series they were doing.
Oh, you're like even before me now at this point.
Oh man, I can't remember. EMP is fucking garbage. Bad people.
There's a movie about it, actually.
There is a whole movie about it.
Only a sucker takes a 9 to 5.
Only a sucker works a 9 to 5.
Break.
That's right. That's right. His manager like shoos him up.
But
yeah, he's like you got 15 minutes. Like don't 15. That's it. You go over and you're out of here.
I just want to make it clear that I'm not trying to make fun of the guy for having to get a job and being a working class comrade. But like, it was funny given previous statements.
Exactly. But yeah, so there's this big power vacuum in New York, and like that week or like the next weeks of next level battle circuit, whichever tournament series it was at the time, the finals were Sanford Kelly, very established fighting game player, especially in Street Fighter 4 at the time. And he was playing against someone that no one had ever really heard of outside of the area. He was playing against Shine, who at the time was like 14 or 15.
Wait, really? Shine was that young?
I want to say he was very young at the time. And he was playing Goken on an Xbox 360 controller. He was playing Pad Goken on a 360 controller. And he won. And that was like this big crazy moment of like, fuck, like, anything can happen right now. And because Justin's gone, the rest of the world might start seeing, or maybe not the rest of the world, that's maybe a little bit over dramatic, but the rest of the country might start seeing these other players pop up in New York that they'd never heard before. And like, who's going to be hungry enough to kind of come out on top? Is it going to be one of these new players? Is it going to be Shine? Or, or is the old guard, Sanford Kelly or Long Island Joe, are they going to kind of step it back together and kind of claim the throne at the point? And it was such an interesting time to be a fighting game fan, especially for Street Fighter, obviously. But it was like, you could watch it and just be like, oh wow, Sanford Kelly lost to a Goken player that I hadn't heard of. That's cool. But like, you have the rest of that information surrounding the match and surrounding that time period, and that's what makes it really interesting to me.
I feel that. Like, there are a bunch of different spots that I can think of. I think particularly about, maybe it's because I've always been geographically closer to them, but the New York community, like when before NLBC, when it was Big 2.
Yeah.
If you remember those, like that era of, I remember like Street Fighter 4 and Marvel 3 at Next Level, it felt like anything could happen at that period. And it was in a weird way and very parasocial. I spent the day researching, looking up, like planning a lecture on parasocial relationships because someone asked me to record a lecture on this, which I'm like, look forward to that in the future. But like, it felt like watching a sitcom, and like you didn't know who's going to be the next person to show up out of nowhere and just be like incredible. Who's in the house tonight? Who's going to be on the microphone? Like there was this element of like, there was like a fire, even as a spectator of that scene. Like when there was sort of this, like, there was no clear best player. Like who's it going to be? Is Sanford gonna come back and have like an outstanding week? Is Rico Suave in the house? And obviously Shine, for example. And you remember Aquasilk and Chris Yu on commentary?
How could I forget? How could I forget Rush Hour?
The Rush Hour.
How could I forget
duo?
Rush Hour? The absolute best. We mean that's how we got. Chris Hu explains the DHC glitch.
It's a
one
combo
of the best
that's
videos.
Not a combo, but it's.
Did you ever watch? It was. I'm sorry, this is getting a little bit off track, but now that we're talking about Rush Hour,
that DHC video is the most important lore that we could possibly talk about.
There's a. This is one of my favorite fucking things. It's like they were doing like a Christmas stream, and they're sitting on the couch, and Oxlick turns to Chris and he's like, Chris, do something cool. Do something cool, Chris. I want to see something cool. And Chris does immediately like, okay. Just literally says, okay, like right afterwards, and does this like air hurricane combo that ends in air raging demon as Oni. Just like it was absolutely nothing. It just said, do something cool. And he's like, okay. He's like, is that cool? Did you like that one? And it was the best shit ever. It was like the absolute perfect timing. And of course, like Chris Hu lost, or Aquasilk like lost his shit. It was so fucking good.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know if I have like a specific story on deck, but I also really, really enjoyed that entire time period.
It was.
I don't even like that game, but I was invested in watching. There was a weekly or a major every week, and like you said, just seeing the new tech every week and seeing who is going to come out on top. And even with New York specifically, Sanford was doing really well for a while, and then he got mad and quit for a while, and then he came back and he was doing really well again. There was just always not like bad drama, but there was dramatic
tension
happenings.
Yes. There was
every
tension.
week.
I think
why are you standing up, etc.
Oh, I think my favorite like piece of lore that I guess it gets lost or you need some context for goes like way back to Guilty Gear Accent Core, which is even before me. But I remember going to Evo and some of the Japanese players had like matching jackets and polo shirts, and they looked sick. Like absolutely sick. And so I'm like, what's going on here? What is this? And it's I'd have to look it up. I know it's like the FAB Bokumetsu, and I can't remember what the rest of the word is or the name for it. But it's basically the FAB assassination squad, where a bunch of players at Mikado. So the lore, as I remember it off the top of my head, please at me actually if I'm wrong, because I want to make sure I have this right. During Accent Core, Potemkin was really fucking good. He was really, really fucking good. David Serlin wrote an article about how Potemkin was really good in Accent Core. It's bad. Don't look for that. But the players at the arcades formed an alliance, the Assassination Squad, with the explicit purpose of keeping FAB from winning things. FAB being probably, bar none, the best Potemkin player on the planet.
Yeah,
like
and not even just an Accent Core. Like I would say, like even to this day, like probably one of the best, if not the best, Potemkin player.
Yeah, but it's like you have this then lore, and then for them to have like that identity built around it, that they all travel to Evo and have like the matching jackets and everything, it just blew my mind. And my favorite part of it is that when you play in the arcade, if you ever watch like any stream, they can have like a quote on their player card, right? And the Dizzy player Kazuki, his quote is "Destroy FAB." He's the president of the assassination.
Yes, that's so sick.
And they're all friends. So like there was a window before COVID.
Destroy FAB.
Where like FAB and Roy or FAB and Kazuki would like stream Arc together, and it was the funniest stuff because like you're sitting here and there's like this overarching bit of like Kazuki is like the president of the FAB assassination squad, but then they're on the same team for a team tournament, and it just like was always a really funny thing to see. I love that kind of stuff. It's just like, and like that it comes together. I think that's one thing that's always struck me about, I guess, like Guilty Gear scenes is like the way they kind of anchor together and how you kind of like connect people to characters and people to people. And seeing that as an outsider was like, wow, that's like a really cool community that like they've had this for like so many years. And now they stream Arc together. They're like a couple mocap suits away from becoming VTubers.
So close.
So close.
There's got to be a face rig of Potemkin. There has to be.
I mean, Omito's already on there. He's been he's like the big. He always has,
oh, is
like,
he?
face rig. Yeah, Omito has like an original character and everything. He has a furry.
What? That's awesome. Good for you, Omito.
It's like a little like dog guy, and he has like the Omito jacket from. It's super good.
That rules.
Yeah, Omito, my favorite furry VTuber, and extra Johnny player.
I was gonna say I hate playing against Johnny, but I can't help but just respect the shit out of Omito, except for when he beat Tomo in grand finals at Evo.
That's not fun.
Of course, it's not fun. That match fucking sucks.
That's
not what I'm here to talk about.
That's how I felt watching Cha 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 versus Omito at Arc Revo last year.
Yeah.
Where like I looked at that top 8 and I was like, I played Heiyun at the time. I still probably would say like I play Heiyun in Xrd. And that matchup is bad enough that it's like you should not play Heiyun specifically because she can never really be good as long as Johnny exists because he invalidates a lot of her options. And I looked at that top 8 and I'm like, Cha 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 is going to get second and get double jeopardy by Omito. And then that's what happened. It's just like, But again, you got to respect it because like for Johnny's fucked up, but like Omito also like plays that character. I mean,
near perfectly.
It's near perfectly. It's like his option selection, his execution. He never fucks up. And like when someone like that is in the bracket and you're playing a character with a really bad matchup, it's like you're going to lose. I'm sorry. Yeah. Enjoy second.
How many years in a row did he win Guilty Gear at Evo?
I think he won 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Like he just didn't lose.
God, absolute fucking monster. Oh.
And now he's a VTuber because that's what
the
world has come to.
Just like Tomo is now a big Tomo he streams on Twitch a whole lot, but
really?
whenever I see him, he's always streaming Apex Legends.
Oh, that's sick.
I don't think I've ever seen him stream Guilty Gear.
That's how I felt when I followed Roy, and it was like Roy is just like hanging out in an apartment with FAB and playing Ark. It's like,
oh my gosh, yeah. I love the lore. I love the little storylines that can sometimes get lost. Like there's to kind of come full
you have
circle
to tell
on
the
this.
story about your involvement in the Justin Wong versus
you absolutely do.
Gamer
B. I was going to, but
okay.
I just had to like take a step back because this is. I love watching the big moments and shit. I really 100% do. But like this is the shit that I love when it comes to fighting games.
This is your moment. I was shocked. No. So I did not realize that I had been co-hosting this podcast with a celebrity.
Don't stop it. Okay, so this was I don't remember which year it was that it was Justin Wong versus Gamer B. Maybe like 2012, 2013, probably if I had to guess. I
want to say 2011. Let me Google it for a second.
Oh, maybe actually it might have been 2011 because that was much fucking sooner. But anyway, the story essentially he loses to Adon or whatever, and there was a clip going around where it was like, it had like with the commentary, then it cut to like just someone playing Adon, be like, Adon's trash, doesn't have any combos, like he's ass, don't play him.
It was 2010.
2010. Oh wow, so it was that same year? Okay, so
Street Fighter 4 got better.
Yeah, it got better. So, PAX East 2010, I am there, a young lame-o. Not even going by lame-o at this point. I was going by Cataract. I'm going to PAX East.
What the fuck?
Wow. Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't fucking judge me.
I mean, lame-o's an improvement. I'll give you that.
There you go. Going to PAX East 2010. They have... they have a setup in the game room or whatever, and it has Street Fighter 4 people playing matches. I sit down and I play a few people. Markman actually sits down. I play with Markman. He actually gave me those really dope ass fucking keychains at the time where it's like a little TE and it has one of the hex keys inside for you to open up your stick. Love that thing. Miss it like crazy. But anyway, so one of the days rolls around and Seth Killian, I was talking to at one point, I was like, oh yeah, like we're gonna have like we're bringing like a beta version or whatever of Super Street Fighter 4, which is not out yet. It's still coming out in like a month or two at that point. So I come back and people are playing. It's fucking awesome. I got to play Adon, one of my favorite characters. There's Makoto, like all these cool fucking characters, and I'm super stoked. I sit down to play. Oh my god, that's right. Sorry, I'm remembering more and more as I'm thinking about this. I go on to see Justin Wong playing, which I'm not surprised. He was living in New York at the time. I had run into him at Chinatown Fair a whole bunch. Justin Wong, and then actually one of my favorite commentators at the time that I totally forgot about. I don't know if y'all remember Seb, but he was like a big commentator during that like early Street Fighter 4 era. I have no clue what happened to him or what he's doing now. Seb, if by some actual miracle you're out there listening to this, which I know you're not, hope you're doing good. I miss hearing your voice. Whatever. So you go to sit down. We end up playing an Adon mirror match because I'm like, shit, I haven't gotten any time in yet with Adon. Let me play him. It'll be a good time. Justin Wong also picks Adon. I'm like, oh fuck. Play a mirror match, and this is all recorded. Like they were recording for Footage Up YouTube. I ended up beating him just slightly in the mirror match, which prompts Justin Wong to say all this. You know, Adon's trash. Like he's garbage. Like don't play him. And like one of his friends is like off to the side too. He's like, so he's bad, right? He's bad. Like he's a bad character. Like he's trying to like make excuses for Justin Wong at this point. Whatever. Later on, fast forward that year, Justin Wong fucking loses to GamerB's Adon at EVO that year, and it was fucking.
In the semifinals, and he had had that exact video that had been widely circulated that Adon sucks. Then he loses to Adon because turns out Adon did not suck.
Adon did not suck. He was very good. He maybe did not have like the craziest fucking high damage combos and shit, but Adon was fucking good.
I like in that video,
that was like
Justin,
the closest I ever had. What's
there's
that?
a part where he's like, in that video, there's a part where he's talking about, like, yeah, he doesn't have combos, Jaguar kick isn't safe, he just has good normals. And like the way he's like, it's just really, I mean, you can have a bad character with good normals, but it's just a really funny, he just has good normals.
He just has good normals.
In Street Fighter.
Yeah, far roundhouse, hits twice, does like a shit ton of damage.
Breaks armor.
If you catch somebody... Yeah, I was gonna say if you catch somebody trying to do focus attack against it, you're gonna get a counter hit against them too. Like, it's so fucking good.
Did 4 have counter hit combos?
Yes, it did.
It had some. You had a frame advantage. You get like plus 2 frames, plus 3 frames,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the closest I ever had to like to being a footnote in a lore entry. In the world of fighting game history, I guess.
So basically, what you're saying is you are directly taking responsibility for beating Justin Wong. That's how tournament math works, right?
I did technically
that
beat
Adon
Justin
was
Wong.
a good character.
Yeah. So like
really,
you were
father of Street Fighter 4 Adon, right here.
I don't know about Lamo, but like this. I
mean, you could say that I taught
GamerB
everything he knows, and that wouldn't be a stretch or an exaggeration.
Did you teach GamerB everything that he knows, or did Cataract teach GamerB everything he knows?
You know, I think I put my energy into the world, and I think the world in turn taught GamerB.
So Cataract is really like a concept. It's like the Force. And you were just a vessel for a period of time.
Sure. Sure, Morgan.
Sorry,
go with that. But yeah, that was my tiny little part of being a part of FGC lore, because it was crazy. Because like, you know, I mean, you'd be on like, at the time I used to go on like Arcappa and shit like that, and it was like you see the video get posted there and just like everyone's blowing up. I'm like, hey, that's me. I'm in that video. This is cool. The funniest fucking thing though, oh my god, so I was on a forum at the time for Destructoid. There was like a little like fighting game like a group in there that we were talking with, and there was a lot of shit talk that we would send back and forth with each other there, but we're all good buddies. And I remember like the day I got back, I posted about that, and I had like the video and everything, and they refused to acknowledge that I had posted about it. Which was the best thing they could have fucking done, honestly. So it's like they just completely ignored that I posted like, yeah, I was at PAX East and I beat Justin Wong and it's on video and there's all this shit. Like, nope. It was like it was like I was fucking invisible. And honestly, thinking back on it, that's the funniest fucking shit they could have done. Out of all the things they could have done and like deny it or like, nah, like this is fake shit, That was the funniest fucking thing they could have done. I cannot be mad about that.
Solid.
Yeah. FGC lore is the real shit.
FGC
Tournaments are dope. But like, man, the stories that happen between the matches, that lead up to the matches, that come after the matches, that's the coolest shit. Like, fuck, was it one of your like Frosty Faustings? Like, Teresa had won like plus R or whatever it was, and he goes to the gas station and buys a bunch of people like sodas, and then just goes back to Frosty and starts handing out sodas to people.
I don't remember that,
like that.
But maybe that happened.
that is a story that I had heard of one year. But like shit like that, I don't even care if that story is true. That story's so good that I'm just like, yeah, you know what?
It might as well be real.
It might as well be real. It might as well be real. And
that's what the whole idea of lore is for, even, right? It's just like, you've got this whole idea of like, yeah, there's I miss tournaments for exactly this point, like the bits that you don't see on the stream.
Yeah.
Of, like, the background, the lore, the things leading up to matches. That's what's always made the space feel special to me. I think is like kept me here through times that have been uncomfortable or times that have been weird. Just the idea that like in the classic Seth Killian Evo sign off, you get people in a room and just like things happen and stories come out of it, and they're things that you're talking about 10 years later and laughing with people.
That reminds me of one of my favorite, like, very small tournament moments was UFGT 9.
Yeah.
I had known Jay for, I don't know, a few years at that point, and he had an uncle that lived in Chicago, and we were both kind of talking about, like, oh, we should go, to some tournament, whatever, sometime. And UFGT was coming up, so Jay's like, hey, you want to, like, go to Chicago with me, and we'll go to UFGT, I guess? And I was like, all right. And I forget how deep this was into the Street Fighter 4 bracket. I don't think it was top 8. It might have been for like top 16 or something. But Flash Metroid, person who everyone enjoys, was he had made it into top 16 or top 32 or whatever it was. And Keats was on stage calling people out for like, you like to come up to the stage. If you're in top 16 or whatever it was, come up here. Justin, come up here. Whoever, come up here. And he has Flash Metroid come up to the stage and check in for your top 16 match.
Oh, I know this story.
And Flash is just somewhere out in the crowd. He can hear him, right? He raises his hand at Keats or something. And Keats is like, you need to come up to the stage to check in. And Flash is like, just waving his hand. Like, I'm not going to do it. You know who I am. You know who I'm here.
I love Keats. I just remember the story.
Keats just DQ'd him, gave him a loss on the spot for like disrespecting him in the turn. Not disrespecting him, I guess, but whatever. He didn't follow the rules, and he instantly got a DQ, and it was just a sick moment because nobody really likes that guy. I don't think.
No.
And,
I've heard some
Keats
shit.
Tournaments are just like, that's like the Chicago tournament thing. Like, they run on time, they follow the rules.
Yeah.
And so it's just like a cool moment.
That
you would not see if you were just watching on stream.
My follow-up to that, I want to say, so he still made top 8. Keats gave him a medal. Flash accepted the medal and threw it out.
Yo! Yo! Oh my god.
Oh,
that is fucking sick. Holy shit!
Like,
so I knew about Flash Metroid getting the DQ there. I've heard about that. I did not hear about him throwing out the medal though. That is fucking sick. But yeah, like the Chicago tournaments. I mean, but like it's been said, they pride themselves on running on time. They pride themselves on the idea of like, I don't give a fuck who you are. You need to be here when this shit starts. You need to be here when your match is called. Otherwise, you're getting DQ'd. That's the fucking rules. And you know what? That's why it's my favorite fucking tournaments. It's no like, I don't know, we'll look around for them and shit. It's like, no, it's like, you knew you had to be here. Why the fuck weren't you here? That's why Combo Breaker is the best major.
True.
Another funny one was that year all the Mortal Kombat players, or I mean maybe other people, but I specifically heard it from a bunch of Michigan Mortal Kombat players, were really mad that they had 10 a.m. pools.
10 a.m.?
10 a.m. pools. It wasn't really like that early, but they were very upset.
Even like 8 a.m. pools, I'd be happy with. Actually, that's what I'd prefer. Give me like 7:30 pools. You kidding me? By that point I have showered. I've had a breakfast. I've showered. Like, I've showered again. I'm fucking ready to go by that point. I never understood people complaining about having early pools, because even like early pools really aren't early.
Not really. No.
Yeah, just
like...
don't be up until like 3 a.m. the night before.
That's the hard part.
Well, it just depends on your goals. Are you there to win, or are you there to have fun?
Yeah. And like, don't,
Not that those are mutually exclusive. That's a hot button topic. But if it's more important to you to win than to hang with the boys, then just like...
Then accept that. Yeah, then
but
just
if
go
you
to bed.
want to stay up till 3 a.m., then it obviously was more important to you than winning the tournament. And that's not a big deal, but that was a choice you were able to make.
Yeah, exactly. I had a really good time talking about kind of the weird ins and outs and the importance of FGC lore and some of our favorite stories from it. Really do want to thank you and the listeners for being here. Morgan, where can the people find you?
You can find me on the Hell site at Morganization 13. And let's see, I have a WordPress now at which is Morganization 13. And I've been trying to stream a little bit more and be healthier about it. It's at FOG_E. I will probably change that too to be, on brand, as it were. But that's it. That's where I'm at.
Right on. Vince, where can the people find you?
I am on Twitter at snooze2718. And 2020 is almost over, so let's all continue to push for substantive policy change.
Hey, there we go. You'd love to see it. And you can find me, Lamo, on the Hell site at Lamo_SD. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Lamo. Don't subscribe to me, by the way. Some people subscribe. I got like 4 subs in my last stream. Don't do that. I hardly ever stream. Like, it's nice and all, but don't sub to me. Go like donate $5 to a charity or something. That's a much better use of that money. Just had to throw that one in there. But yes, we'll be back next week. We're gonna have we have a guest lined up for next week's episode that I'm pretty excited about. Gonna try and keep the steady flow of guests coming on the YASEcast. But we will see you next week. You have a great week. Stay strong, and we will hear from you soon.
Good luck. Have fun.
Yeah.